Well, here we go again. We've had some sort of technical problem. The weirdest thing happened. This is the Virtual Pool 4 2020 Snooker Masters, a one-loss side match between Bedhead from Sweden and Mr. Fox from England, race to 3. And Bedhead was in the room. I joined the room. Mr. Fox came in the room. Now, in a tournament match, once both players arrive in the room, no matter how many people are in it, the game will automatically kick in and put the two players into the game, because those are the two players that are due to play the match. But for some weird reason, it didn't put Mr. Fox in on my screen. Now, according to Bedhead, it did on his screen, and they played a couple of shots. So I thought I was out of sync. Well, it obviously was for some reason. Left the room, couldn't get back in the room, and then Mr. Fox got disconnected. When I came back, he couldn't get in, and then of course I think he had a couple of attempts to get in the room, couldn't get in, the room timed out, and we had to get the super admin Steve Chaplin to reset the game. But anyway, that's all done and dusted. Fingers crossed we're good to go. We have well, the winner of this match will go through to play the winner of another match in the one-loss side. I think it's Kenway and Super Malt. They've still to arrange their match. So in the meantime, we'll settle down and watch some of this one. And I've probably lost whatever viewers I was going to get, because I think they get fed up waiting. I think I had about 3 goes trying to get in, but everything seems good to go now. Touching ball there, so Bedhead could play away from the red. Well, he had to play away from the red without moving it, and well, he hasn't got cover on that red, so it's a tempter for Mr. Fox. Good evening, Keith. Well, this match is starting 30 minutes late, pretty much 25 minutes late because of the technical problems, but we're up and running. All systems go. Well, Mr. Fox is going to have to up his game a fair bit. Bedhead is going to be tough opposition for him, so we'll see if things improve. And well, still the shock of the tournament, as far as I'm concerned, is the match between Tony Sam and Barry C. And Tony Sam lost 5-1. I don't know what happened there. And to be honest with you, I don't really know how well Barry C plays, but Tony Sam must have had a bit of a nightmare. He still holds the highest break for the tournament, 103. And he's still to arrange his next match on the one-loss side. So we're getting a bit of safety backward and forward here. It's Bedhead's turn for a shot in the red, but he's going to have to cannon into one of those reds next to the black if he's going to have any chance of getting on a colour at this end of the table. So he's going to do well to avoid any collision here. Well, he had the right idea, but he needed more pace. If he had more pace in that ball, he may well have left himself half decent on the black. But all he can do now is try and find some sort of safety. And he's looking to just push the black up the table. Yeah, he needed a bit more juice in that shot, and he may well have got the cannon a bit heavier. And for anybody that doesn't know, the Betfred World Snooker Championship starts on Friday morning, 10 AM, and the draw for the tournament was done this morning at 11 AM. I watched it live, and probably the most interesting match, or the one that will catch most people's eyes, is going to be the match between Tepchai Un-Nu and Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now, statistically, these two players are the fastest players in professional snooker in terms of their shot time. Ronnie O'Sullivan being second and Tepchai Un-Nu being the fastest player. So he's a very aggressive player, Un-Nu, and he will cause problems for O'Sullivan. It's just a question of whether he can hold his nerve, but it should be an interesting match. That's one of them. Scotland's representative this year, there is going to be one. Well, there's two. Anthony McGill, he's qualified, and also the elder statesman Angus McManus, and in fact I don't know who, I can't remember who McGill plays, but I know that Alan McManus has been drawn against Mark Williams, so they'll be the two pretty much the oldest players in the tournament apart from O'Sullivan and John Higgins. So there's some good matches lined up. Welcome back, Semi-Pro. There was a technical problem. It wasn't at my end, thankfully. There was something up with the server, and eventually the room timed out. Mr. Fox was out of Virtual Pool 4. He couldn't get back into the room, and Steve Chaplin had to reset it. But we're all good to go now. And so we've got a cagey start here to this frame. This is a bit more of the old 1980s style of playing snooker. Good bit of safety. Black balls in play, although it's up the table. Pink balls dead in amongst the reds. Oh, good evening, Andy. A long time no see. And if that squirts past the yellow, well, it could have been a good shot, but I think Mr. Fox is going to have a long red. I think he can just always get plenty of room past the blue. Well, he's had a blast. He's missed it. Now what has he left? Well, he's left a red on the left hand side, but I don't think he's left anything this side. And well, it's a good opportunity here for Bedhead to get off and running. Now, is he on the black? He's just on the black and no more. Now he's going to drop onto one of these reds into the middle, probably the one nearer the pink. That would be the natural shot. I don't know whether he can get on that red to the right of the pack as we look. Well, it's going to be the top red, so it's just a reasonable chance to score some points here. Well, is he going to try and get into the pack? The problem's the red that's in the way. Normally that red wouldn't be there and it'd be the pink you'd be aiming for. Well, he's rolled through, so he's going to take that red and get that one out of the way, and should be back up for the blue. Well, he's just under hit that. He needed a few more ounces on it to get top side of the blue, so now he's got a problem. And well, there is an angle to pot the blue. Oh, get my doodle to the straight line. Hang on a minute. To pot the blue, go that way and come down this side for the red, but he's looking to play a long red here. Has he managed to get on it? It's a narrow gap to go on it, but he's managed it. Now he's got the angle on the black, and he really needs to get into that pack off this black. Perfect angle to stun up, get a bit of draw into it as well. It's the one opportunity he's got right now to move something, and he should take it. He's only got well, he's got two reds that are loose really, but that's not going to be enough to win him a frame. And well, it went in, but it pretty much died, and I don't think he's on anything. That's too tight. And the other problem now is he's got that red down in the bulk half of the table, so there's not a lot of places to run and hide. He's also got the red behind the black, so there's no safe area this end of the table either, so he might just have to roll into the... Well, he could roll in between those two reds. Maybe just not let me have a look at that. No, he can't do that either, looking at it from here. He can use the black as cover. He might have to take that risk by pushing over here and cue ball going to sort of there, but getting cover on that red. And that's what he's played. Now, has he hit it soft enough? I think it's too tight. I think he's okay, but he's actually pushed the red up past the pink. So Mr. Fox has a chance for the red and stun back for the black. Well, he seems convinced he can get to this one. I think it's too tight, and he doesn't seem... Well, I mean, it's a natural shot, but you have to stun it a wee bit. If you don't stun it enough, you're going to leave a high cut in the black. Well, that's got it there pretty much. Still a wee bit higher. And now he needs to roll it in if he's going to finish on this red nearest the black cushion. Oh dear. Well, must have been trying the big deep draw on the black ball, and he's put way too much on it and miscued. And what's more, he's left a free go at a red for Bedhead, and a chance for Bedhead to increase his lead. Well, I haven't heard any, and I haven't seen any problem with the cues in Virtual Pool 4. That's the first time I've heard anybody say anything like that. All you do is draw the cue backward and forward, and it moves backward and forward, and it works fine. I didn't notice that red in the top half there. I was too busy looking at the bunch. But Bedhead's got himself tight to the cushion. Now he can force the blue in. Excuse me. Is he going to... Well, he wanted to miss them. If he missed them, he'd have been round the other side, and he'd have been on a red comfortably. He's still got a shot in a red, but... Or can he actually see it? Well, the answer to that is no. He can't see enough of it to pot it, so... Again, just running for cover, and he's got a target area, and the target area is there. Well, if he played that with a bit of right hand side, or in fact maybe even a bit of left, would have checked it to straighten it to go that direction towards the yellow and brown, but he's still got distance and he's still got a healthy lead, 43 points to 9. An open red for Mr. Fox to have a go at, but it was a sort of, well, I think he's doing his best here to hold for the black, but hitting it at that pace, the danger is you're always leaving the red near the pocket, but he's got away with it. Well, this isn't a red you would go for, but the red to the right of the bunch is on into the right corner, but you wouldn't go for it. You'd go for it if you had a huge lead, but the lead isn't that comfortable to take silly risks like that, so just heading for the far end of the table again. Where's the cue ball going? Well, it's gone in, but no damage done, and Mr. Fox should be playing thin right edge off that red on the ball, on the black cushion, and trying to find the target area behind the brown and yellow. There is the opportunity to do that here. And he's got it thin enough, needs to miss the green, and it's heading towards the yellow and brown, and that's exactly the shot you play. You aim for that target zone, and that's a good shot, because that's got Bedhead, Mr. Fox in trouble, and it's just going to fall short. So Bedhead puts him back in. He's just going to play the same shot and get it right this time, but there is a red on if he wants to risk it, and I would feel that Mr. Fox will get it right this time. Easy enough to play around the angles and get towards that bunch of reds. It was just short of pace. That looks better. Now, is he going to get the cover? I think he has, so he'll be happy with that one. There isn't a best cue in this game. There isn't a best pool cue, and there isn't a best snooker cue. There are combinations of pool cues and shafts that give you lower deflection, but you obviously have to buy the shafts. They aren't free with the online game. But put it another way, if you were going to buy a game and ask what's the best cue, well, the best cue is the most expensive one. It's far too expensive, but it doesn't make you a better player. So get that idea out your head straight away. Well, Bedhead now has an open red. He has a healthy lead and still plenty of reds in the table. But if he can get on a colour off this one, he's got a chance to build on that lead. And well, even without going down and looking at the pack, it's easy enough to pot the black and get on that one. But there are at least 3 reds to be played either from that side, or certainly 2 from this side, so there's not an awful lot of manoeuvring to be done to get on a red after this red and black. Well, here we go with the same list of questions we've had before. I'm just going to ignore it. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. What's the lead here? 67 at the moment. Well, I don't think Bedhead's going to foul up much here, but I'm going to take a time out for a minute. We'll be right back. Bedhead's just Bedhead is just consolidating the frame here. Just give me a minute. Right, sorry about that, guys. Now, sorry about that, guys. Oh, hang on a minute. Now, sorry about that, guys. Oh, hang on a minute. Now, right, that's me. Shut that up. Well, Keith, if you're still there, and Semi-Pro, if you're still there, the two of yous are now moderators on my YouTube channel, and if you want to take care of anything, you can take care of it by just going into the chat on my YouTube channel. So Bedhead on a run of 41, just getting his eye really warmed up, and it's a comfortable win in this first frame for Bedhead, and this will settle him down even better. Now, I don't know whether I have to make you moderators every time you're in the gate, every time you're on the stream. I don't know whether, I've never done it before. I just right click your name and it gives me the option. But hopefully that will deal with any problems. As long as we've got 1 or 2 moderators, we can take care of any annoyances if we get them. Good evening, Has. Well, you're just in time to see Bedhead hopefully clearing up here, and he's really settled in. There's nothing like a good little break just to get your pace right. And well, Mr. Fox is going to have to deal with this one way or another, but he's going to have to deal with it the best way you can, and that's by actually making something himself. And so far, well, the first match he didn't impress, and he's going to have to live up to that rating. I mean, Bedhead's rating's that reason is that low because he doesn't play snooker, simple as that. But there is no doubt in my mind that he's an over 2000 rated player comfortably. But it's a healthy break, a nice break of 65, and that gives him the first frame, and it's only a race to 3, remember. Yes, you can I believe you can kick people from the chat. not obviously the YouTube chat. Yeah. So into frame number 2, and the pressure is immediately on Mr. Fox, but he's played a half decent shot there because Bedhead can barely see this red on the right hand side. In fact, he can't see any of it. Let's have a look. So big target area into the back right hand side of those reds, easy enough to do that. He might be a bit short, is he? Yeah, he's a bit short now. The question is whether Mr. Fox is going to put him back in, because now he'll get it right, and Bedhead will just add a wee bit to the weight of the shot, and he'll be right in the back of the pack. Well, he's made sure he's got there this time, and he's actually brought another red into play, and there isn't an easy route back to balk, so I think Mr. Fox will just push on to the red next to the black, or just punch that one up. But has he left a shot? Well, no, there's no shot there, but has he left a long red? Yes, he has. Again, it's a tight angle to read, so Bedhead is looking at the red next to the black just to push through on it. Now, of course, if you're going to try and get to balk off this red, you have to get behind something or get really close to that balk cushion, because there's two reds on the right hand side. Now, what's Mr. Fox thinking? Is he going for the long one? Now, he could still play off that red there, this one here, and come back this way. That would be the shot to avoid going up the table, but you're putting all your eggs into one basket. No, that's why I made you moderators. If you tab out and go to YouTube and go to my live stream on YouTube, you can right click him in the chat and do whatever you want. I mean, I could do it, but it just means breaking up the stream each time. Well, Mr. Fox has been unfortunate there to actually push the red over the corner pocket, but it's actually very tight. It is very tight. Can he get through to that red? Maybe not. So it's not as bad as it looked. Well, Bedhead can push the red up the table and kill the cue ball next to the pack. If he looks as if he's going for the pot. Yeah, good shot. Unfortunate kiss in the red, and now he's got himself in trouble, because he's going to have to pull out a pot now, unless he's going to just drop onto the balk cushion. But if he does that, he's going to just leave Mr. Fox an easy safety off the red. Now I've got the hiccups again after having a drink of water. How is it I get hiccups after drinking water when a lot of people drink water to stop hiccups? I start getting them when I have a drink. I'm going to have another drink and see if that will cure it. Well, Bedhead's got the green. Now he should be dealing with that red in balk, because if he has to run for cover, he'll have less choices if he continues to leave that red in balk, so he needs to get rid of that. And he's got the easy opportunity to do that right now, so that'll get rid of that one. And now we're back into a sort of normal game of snooker. We've got at least 3 open reds, and maybe the red at the back of the bunch. It's a bit tight, but he won't be worrying about that. He'll just be looking to get off the brown or off the green. Well, the problem in the reds on the left hand side He's got a limited area he can get into to get on one of them, but if he gets into the middle of the table, he's got that right hand red easily enough. Well, he's tried to find the gap, but he's now got himself in a no man's land situation. This is a difficult red. He's hampered by the green. The cue ball's running towards the pack, and he may well just be pushing for safety here. Yeah, as I say, I don't know. I haven't a clue what happens, whether you have to keep adding moderators each time. It's more than likely that's what will have to be done. So Bedhead, just a slender lead, 7 points. And there's a shot to nothing on here. That's the shot you play on that red. Try and cut it to the corner. Take the cue ball around, and if you help it around with a bit of side, you go that way and you finish sort of up there. Well, he's played the higher red, but that was a shot to nothing. Yes, Semi, now that you're here now, how many viewers have we got? We just get you and Keith still. I'll see that on Saturday. I didn't know what days the matches were getting played, but I saw the draw, and I'll certainly be home plenty of time to see it. Should be a cracking match. Well, that's a new name. I've never seen that name. Lewis Hood. Are you a virtual full 4 player, or are you just a passing viewer? That's not a bad shot. Yellow is blocking a big area for the cue ball to go down towards those reds. That was just a feather past the red. And actually, that if that had just brushed the red, that would have been perfectly safe. And he's going to have another go. Bedhead's put him back in. Yes, Semi-Pro was playing his match last night, if any of you guys were watching it, and he had a bit of a shaky start. And of course Mr. Fox has now hit the red, but he's left it on. Yeah, Semi-Pro was struggling yesterday, but he had technical problems with his computer, which his intention was to ask for some help prior to the match starting, which albeit he did. He sent me a message in Virtual Pool 4, which I saw the message, but when I looked at the message and I looked at the time that it came in, it was 90 minutes prior to me getting back to Virtual Pool 4 for my dinner. So he would have asked how to solve this problem that he had. And the problem, I think there's a problem with Virtual Pool 4 sometimes, because that actually happened with me before. I had been uninstalling and reinstalling VP4 to solve another problem where VP4 locks up when you try and come out of the game to exit the game. I've had lots of times where the game will not shut down, and I actually have to control alt delete doesn't solve it, because I have to go to a new window, a new desktop. But anyway, I've since resolved that issue. I don't know how I did it, but I've never had the problem for a little while. But the other problem when you install Virtual Pool 4 is that sometimes this guy, I think, is a ringer. There's no way anybody that's got any common sense in their head is just going to come on here in the chat and do the same thing every time. No disrespect to him, but unless he's got other sort of issues, he's asking the same stuff every time. Anyway, yeah, Semi-Pro had this problem, and the problem with NVIDIA cards, and I've always had NVIDIA, but the problem is the software that comes with it, the NVIDIA control panel and GeForce Experience, but in particular the control panel. For some reason, and Steve Chapman's the only one that can confirm this, but I have had the same issue as Semi-Pro, where for some reason when you install Virtual Pool 4, sometimes it isn't configured properly. It's difficult to explain, but to cut a long story short, all it needed was the correct box checked on the 3D settings in the NVIDIA control panel to solve the issue. But I think it's an issue that maybe quite a few players have had, and maybe still have, because your game looks ugly. But Semi-Pro's problem was a lot worse than I've seen. Normally it's just poor graphic quality, and your lines on the table, the bolt cushion lines, if you look at those, when you've got the wrong graphic settings, this line breaks up. It's got nothing to do with just having the anti-aliasing on or off, but the other problem is to make sure that you've got the 3D settings to allow the 3D application to choose itself. That's the recommended setting, and once that was chosen, Semi-Pro's problems have been fixed. So he did have a genuine excuse for his problems, but having said that, even in that situation he still had a good final frame, 2 good solid breaks, and in the end won the match comfortably 3-1. Meanwhile, slowly but surely, Bedhead is building up another lead in this second frame, and well, I mean, it's about time that Mr. Fox did something here, but he's going to have to get the chance. I mean, obviously, and this is not being any disrespectful to anybody who's watching my streams, but when you get a chap like that asking the same questions, there could be other issues, and it's not in any way to make fun of the chap. It could well have other problems, and I won't go into that sort of detail, because there's no way I'm on here to sort of ridicule anybody who watches any of my streams. But yes, it does become a bit annoying, but unless you know somebody's circumstances, other than that, that's the only way to deal with it, because it's one person distracting everybody else that's watching. There's one thing to take part in the chat, but there's another thing to just disrupt it. So it's a 36-point lead, and the alarm bells should be well and truly ringing here for Mr. Fox. He's really going to have to get his finger out and get himself into this game. But as I say, you know, you can't rely on your opponent falling apart. You have to work a way to take him apart, break up his game, do something. So the brown's now at the wrong end of the table. We've got the two reds over on the right hand side. One certainly goes into the right middle pocket, but Mr. Fox is only going to have those two reds to play on because he's blocked out from the right hand side of the pack by the blue. It's another good safety by Bedhead. You've always got to remember the target areas when you're playing safe, and before you play a safety shot, especially heading back down to balk, you have to actually think about what you're doing. And Mr. Fox, under so much pressure, went all out for the red, where he could have cross-banked it and headed back to safety. Shots like that, for example, that he had there with that red being sort of there, he could have kissed into the red, pushed it to the rail, cue ball there and back up to balk, and it at least would have given him distance. And to go all out for a red like that down the rail is really just sticking your neck out too far, and Bedhead's just going to pinch a few more points. See, Stubbs got the right idea. Stubbs stays on Facebook. He doesn't come into YouTube or Twitch because he'll end up getting kicked as well. He's staying well away from danger. Well, the little soft draw off this blue would be the one to get on the red at the back of the bunch. That would be the shot because the angle's there to do it. Needed a bit more juice into it, didn't quite go through with it enough. But he can get the one at the top. He's on it, no problem. Can you? I've never even looked. I wouldn't have the foggiest idea how to do that on Facebook because obviously I'm streaming. I don't have these other things running while I'm streaming. I don't. I have to tab out and I have to pause the stream to go and do stuff like that. That's why I had to do that, to make you guys moderators. Well, it's a 46-point lead. Sorry, 56-point lead. My eyes are totally gone. It's well past my bedtime. And so this frame is over as far as I'm concerned. Unless something happens to turn the course of this frame, it is a tall order for Mr. Fox. Now, needed to go right across a bit more. Wrong side of the blue. Now, what about a plant? Let's have a look at these two reds. Well, they're not set, but if you get close to them you can try and make it. And the red next to the pink doesn't go. No, it doesn't go. But that red from this side, that does go, but you'd have to have been sitting square to it. You'd have to have been there to have a go at it, but it doesn't matter. It's a healthy lead, and he's managed to get on the red into the middle. That's a good shot. I never seen that one coming. Good evening. Well, I think the problem here is potting the pink and the pink respotting, but he can still get on that other red if he just drops through square to it. He can play the cut back. Well, I think he was hoping for a little cannon there, but let's have a look. Well, there's definitely nothing now, so he'll just have a blast and hope he gets a fluke, I think. No. Well, 43 left in the table, and well, I don't think there's much more going to be played in this frame. So it's 2-0 to Bedhead, and as I mentioned earlier, Bedhead doesn't have an opponent yet for his next match. The two guys, well, I should if I was going to work tomorrow, but I've got my second day off tomorrow, so it's just my body clock that kicks in. I mean, I should have been in my bed 2 hours ago. I would have been in cloud cuckoo land at this time. Good evening, Moz. And we almost didn't have a match here tonight. We had a technical problem. Needless to say, it was at the Virtual Pool 4 end. It wasn't a problem anything to do with me, but the match started 25 minutes late. It actually started, but to cut a long story short, Mr. Fox was disconnected. There was a problem with the room at the start, which was weird, where Mr. Bedhead was already in the room when it went up, and I went into the room. Mr. Fox joined the room, and all I saw was Bedhead still knocking balls about. For some reason, Mr. Fox wasn't put into the game on my screen, but according to Bedhead he was, and they had actually played a couple of shots. So I left the room thinking, well, I must be out of sync, and then couldn't get back into the room. Restarted VP4, came back in, couldn't get back in again, and when I came back in, Mr. Fox was gone. And then of course we ran out of time, it timed out, and then Steve Chaplin had to reset the whole shooting match, and we're now off and running, everything's okay. And Mr. Fox has missed the blue, and I think well, Bedhead could pot the red, but a far easier safety, skim off the red second below the pink and head to the long grass for safety. But he could go up the table for the pink off this red, but not easy. These are always a tester. And the weight is pretty good. Now, is he going to have a good angle? With a little feather right hand side, which is what he needs to pot that pink to the cue ball off the cushion and get in there and disturb something. He can certainly do it, but it makes the shot more difficult. Now, what's he looking at in this pack? He's been having a good look. I don't see anything on. Nothing on that side, and I don't see anything this side, so well, he's gone for the green, but I think he'd have been better going for the pink with a bit of right hand side to check the cue ball off that side rail, and a little nudge in amongst those balls, and he might have got on something. Is this red at the back of the black go? No, it doesn't. So end of break, and it's only 4 points, and Mr. Fox will be relieved at that. And I think he's got no escape route either, so he can't head to balk. There's no path to balk, the pink's blocking that. And now, of course, the red is now in the balk half of the table, so Bedhead can only just roll into the bunch here. I mean, if he plays the aggressive shot, he'll draw off the bunch, thus he'll split them and try and get the cue ball back to the black cushion, but he's not risking it. But that's a weak one. Has he left the red exposed? No, he's got away with it. just got away with it and no more. Unless my eyes are deceiving me again. But the next shot should be Bedhead getting rid of that red from the bulk half of the table. He could go for the pot, but he's got a far easier option to play a reasonable safety as long as he can get that red down towards the bunch again. Well, he's going to get covered behind the brown. And again, that's not a bad shot because there's a very limited area that Mr. Fox can go to, but he can certainly get back to bulk. The problem being that red's in the opening. Unless he gets cover, he's going to leave a shot to nothing for Bedhead. So probably the roll into the bunch is going to be the safest option. So there's not many places you can put the cue ball down in bulk. He's got an option to play down to bulk, but the safety area would be over here. So if he went off there and down that way, the pink's covering the red. It's one way of getting that distance between the cue ball and object ball. So somebody should be brave enough to play that shot. As long as that pink stays where it is and you can get far enough over into this zone here, then you've got cover on that red. That's the area that they should be trying to get get that distance and make it more difficult for the opponent to play a decent safety. Of course, the other thing they can do is still roll into the pack, but you have to try and create something in this situation. Now, once again, Mr. Fox comes to the table, and looking at that angle there, that's a shot to play. Get it down there, round sort of that way, and you're okay. There's no harm done. You just feather that red and you've got a route back to bulk. And now the problem is that route back to bulk is now out of the equation because he's knocked a red over to the left hand side. Now I wonder if Mr. Fox is going to live to regret that, because he could have easily got down into that bottom left hand corner, and now if anybody ends up down there, they're going to roll the red in down the rail, and the black goes. So well, it's another chance here for Mr. Fox. Same shot. I mean, if you look at that red, you play the red, get over there and down there, and if you can get further over here, you're still in a fairly safe zone. But the red is going to remain there in that bottom corner unless somebody does something about it. And so we're going to end up with this tip tapping until somebody takes a risk, whether it be a pot or playing the good safety. Now what's Bedhead looking at here? He's looking at the plant, and he's got it. He took the risk. Now unfortunately he didn't get enough top in the cue ball and he's rolled dead. So he's got no shot in the colour, although he can again get into that. Well, I think he's going to go all out for the yellow, because if he tried to go into the corner, as I say, he's going to leave that red down the left hand side as we look. So this is all or nothing on the yellow. And in it goes, and he needs to get a bit of luck. Well, he's run too far for the red in the corner. The red behind the pink there doesn't go, but that one next to the blue does, and he's going to smack into the reds. So Mr. Fox should be fingers crossed here that things go wrong. But like I say, going back on what I said there, somebody had to take a risk at some point, and Bedhead took the risk with the plant. Didn't get great on a colour, was forced into taking that yellow, and now he's got no luck again. He's got a tight blue, it's a thin cut, and he's going to be heading up the table. So he's going to maybe leave that red on in the bottom corner. And as long as this stays scrappy like this at the moment, it's Mr. Fox's best chance to pinch some points if he can get a good opening pot. And this is the one he's going to feel forced into taking, the thin cut into the bottom right. And well, the cue ball is going to have to be potting this red dead weight if he's going to have to try and hold for the blue. He's just going to have to let it roll in and no more, unless he goes all out and try and gets it up the table for the yellow or the brown. But he's not got an awful lot of choices. Where the hell's the green went to? I can't see the green. Oh, it's in the baulk cushion. Well, he's potted a red and he's gone way behind the yellow and brown, but he's got the safety net of the green, and he's got a slight angle, but he can't really force too much on that. It's difficult to get on a red without forcing this cue ball. Well, he's played that with left hand side to check the cue ball and come across. That was a deliberate shot. The natural angle would have brought the cue ball further down the table, and he's now got rid of the red. I think it was Semi-Pro that beat him, was it not? I think Semi beat him. Yeah, I think it was. I haven't got the bracket, so I can't remember. I think it was Semi-Pro that beat him in the first round. Well, this is an important shot and an important visit for Mr. Fox. We've seen absolutely nothing from him in this tournament so far, or the matches that I've seen so far, and he really has to produce something here. There's enough reds to score a healthy little break. Well, that's gone wrong because he didn't want to collide with the blue. That thick collision has killed his good position in the black, but he can still land on one of at least 3 reds here. Oh, he hasn't played the shot. He's chickened out, and that is the nerves kicking in. It was just a plain and simple pot in the blue to let that cue ball run off the rail and come out for either of those 3 reds, and that is the sellout shot, I'm afraid. And if Bedhead can see this blue, well, can he? Well, the answer to that is no, he can't, and that might be a lifeline. Well, he's going to try and just get a bit of spin on it and just kick it. Not much, he just needs to get the momentum, but he doesn't want to hit this too hard and follow the blue in. Well, he actually got too much on it. It's different playing masse shots in snooker than it is in pool. It's definitely different because the grip of the cloth is a different setting to what it is in the pool tables, and it seems a lot more reactive. You have to play it slower and let that that English effect, that side, you just have to let it take effect. So Mr. Fox on a starter gets a red. You can certainly see the blue, and it's again just a dead weight shot to bring the cue ball back up for that red just above and to the right of the black. Well, this time he's in good shape because he can now nudge into those two reds and just open them slightly, and he'll still be on the black. Well, he's hit that far too heavy. Just a gentle shot to open them. He's still on the black, but he's going into the blind pocket now, and now he's feeling the pressure again. And the chances are he's going to be playing this red on the right hand rail from a distance if he gets the black. Yeah, he's going to end up behind the green though. This could be a disaster. Oh, he's okay. And now it needs a good firm kill shot on this red. It needs to be sweet and it needs to be clean, and he'll have, if he gets it right, he'll have an angle in the black. Well, he's running through. How's he going? Well, if he hits it hard enough and goes forward, he can certainly go that direction and out, and he's got that red. That's the one that you'd normally be playing for. If you stun and come back this way, you've got the choice. You have to get there though. Well, it's not that bad. Again, he can run off the other red, and he'd be unlucky not to be on one colour here. And he's on the pink, and now he's got a chance of winning the frame. The lead is building up. The break is on 23, but he should be taking care of these last two reds. Every colour is available, so this frame should be won here. Well, that'll do. Either or, it doesn't matter. He'll be on pink or black. Well, the shot here is just to drop behind the red into the right middle. That's the shot. He's got, I think, enough angle to do it. Well, maybe he didn't. Well, he's leaving himself a long red. Now the lead is 48. I think it is, if my arithmetic serves me right. So he's rolled in the red, and that secures the frame. No doubt about that. But now he's looking to just clear the table. Where's the cue ball going? That'll do. And well, this should be easy. Just push it around the angles and you're definitely on the green. Well, for those of us who want to see a match, well, you'd be hoping that Mr. Fox is going to settle into his stride now that he's actually got a decent little break, because he has to produce something. You're sitting 2-0 down. You've got to back yourself and get yourself out of the hole one way or the other. You can't rely on too much help from your opponent, least of all Bedhead. He's not going to do much for you. So it's going to be the clearance, and it's about time too. That's well done. Break finishes on 69, and more importantly, Mr. Fox is still in the tournament, and it's his break in frame number 4. And that's going to drop dead behind the brown, more or less. No, not quite. Just short of running. Well, another shot to nothing here. It's a thin one on that red. Still going back to ball, but a chance of cutting it over the pocket. Well, he's played the top red, not taking any risks, but Bedhead's well short of pace though. Well short, and he's given Mr. Fox a starter here. How does it look from his end there? Yeah, he needs to play this with a wee bit of right, just to make sure he comes straight and not too heavy, so he doesn't want to leave himself high in the black. And that will do. I don't know whether he needed any side on it there, but I would have played it with just a tad just to make sure, but that'll do. Oh dear. And that's the sort of shots I do, because I just cannot see an angle nowadays. But that is just a visit of 1 point, mind you. He would have had a wee bit of work to do to get any other reds, but he's going to give Bedhead that opportunity, and if Bedhead can get this black cut and get that cue ball running, which he can smack into the reds here and do some damage if he wants. And that will do very nicely. Where's the black going to go? Is it going to spot? Yes, it is. And well, this is a great opportunity straight away here for Bedhead to stack up some points. As soon as you get that opportunity, that's the way modern snooker's played. That's the way Stephen Hendry played his game. As soon as he had the chance, he was into the reds when he had that opportunity. When other players were still moving the cue ball around to pick off the odd red, Hendry's idea was get in and get into those reds as soon as you can and capitalise on whatever's going to be available. Make the most of it. They're not sitting perfect, these reds, by no means, but you can certainly pick off what's sitting there in the open. Now he's going to have to run through, because he's close to the cushion here. He's going to have to run through here with a wee bit of juice, unless he's going to leave a high angle in this black. Yep, that's the right shot. Get the cue ball back across far enough for the blue. He's a wee bit short, but he's got the yellow, and he doesn't need to do anything. Pot the yellow, cue ball down this way, you're on that red. Again, looking at the angle, maybe a wee bit of left hand side, not much, but just to make sure the cue ball heads the right direction off that bottom rail. Well, he's gone the other way. Wee bit of right hand side, 6 1/2 a dozen, but he's gone a wee bit too far, just a wee bit. And he should just draw. Is he going to try and hope for the black? Well, he's leaving himself a wee bit more distance and closer to the rail again. But the break goes to whatever it is there. I can't see it. I'm seeing double. Is that 26 or 28? I think it's 28. I mean, this is me sitting right in front of the piece, front of my monitor. Oh, that's unlucky. Any cannon would have done there. and he should have been on a red, and he's managed to find a gap. And I think this will be end of break, and he's just going ahead for the deep cover. I don't think that red cuts. No, it doesn't. Well, Mr. Fox can't play safe off the right hand side. He's got the open red, the long red, and it's a pressure shot. And well, he's trailing by 34, and he knows that he has to get this. If he's going to go for it, he might find that there's not many other options available. That's the problem, as he's looking down the table. He's not got a lot of choice here. Has to be smooth and a crisp shot, and that will do. It needs to slow up a bit though, a bit too heavy for the black. And the black, let's have a look. No, there's not enough of it, I don't think. So long blue. Now what about the next red though? Where's it coming from? If he draws it hard enough, he'll get behind the bunch. But there's nothing on. Well, easy safety, either off the red in the bottom cushion, or on the bottom cushion, sorry, and then skimming off the one next to the pink. So he's played not a bad shot. He's covered the right side of the table, I think. And these shots at a distance, trying to skim that red, just scrape the paintwork off it and keep the red there or thereabouts and get that cue ball back down the table, and that's played well. That's exactly how you want to play it. And the other danger in playing this red to the right here is that pink. You try and play thin off the red. You've got to play this with a bit of side to make sure that you kick into the side rail and avoid going near that pink. If you just play it plain ball and you don't hit it right, you can easily collide with the pink. Well, that's exactly what he's done. He's played it plain ball, but he's got the connection thin enough, and that's ended up a very good shot, because Bedhead can see nothing, and he's going to find a path to the left of the brown maybe. He could try kicking into the back of the bunch, and if he actually kicks into that red there, he's not going to leave anything. Into these two reds here, just dead weight, he won't leave anything on. That's what he's planning. Well, he shouldn't leave anything on, but he's left an option. There is one available, and again Mr. Fox has to get this, and he's going to have to push through again to either take the blue down the cushion or land on, sorry, the pink down the cushion or land in the blue. Now, I see the problem when you look closer is the angle isn't great. He's running into the red. Well, he's avoided it. I thought he was going to run into it. That'll do. But unless I'm right behind the shot, I can't see. It didn't look as if he could avoid that red there, but he managed it okay. But look where he's finished. On the side cushion. Now, where does the pink go? Well, if he pots the pink, that's killing the option of that red, because the pink goes there. That's why he's making sure he takes the blue. Needs to hit something and get lucky. Well, I don't think he's been that lucky. He's got a red, but again it's another toughie. But if he thinks about it, if he plays this shot and comes back for the black, he's not going to leave anything easy unless this red comes back up the table. And that's a good shot. But if you look at where the cue ball is, he's got a perfect angle here to actually come back off that cushion and run into something. He doesn't need to, but he's running out of opportunities here because he's only got the two reds sitting, and at some point he's going to have to nudge something because there's nothing really goes with those four reds, so he's got to be planning ahead. Now if he pots the black, he can certainly, I mean the shot to play would be to pot the black and the cue ball up to there. If you run into them, you've got to be in that red. Well, he was going round for the other open one. Well, we'll see how Bedhead deals with the situation, because Bedhead has got a 21-point lead. He's going to take this red. Should be black to follow because he's got nothing to do with the cue ball. And now he can play the little soft draw, little stun onto the other red. He's just, again, he's just under hit it. Now stun through the four reds up for the blue. Needs to watch that middle pocket. If he hits it too soft, needs to get the stun to work. Yeah, it worked pretty well because he's actually hit the reds. Well, he's still on the green, and he's got the two reds open. And now this is a critical time for Mr. Fox because he's almost hanging by a thread right now. In the next couple of shots, well, they may well decide this match, and Bedhead is seriously thinking about the black. Now the problem if he took the green is it's not great to get on any of those two reds because this corner pocket's blocked by those other two reds, the two open reds I'm talking about. So you'd have to get below these two reds. Now there is something that you're not going to see too often, somebody actually using their head. You know, he could have 9 out of 10 players would have went for the green there and just hoped to get on the red, whereas the good safety like that is may well going to yield him better benefits because Mr. Fox has not got a lot on here. Well, a shot to nothing for Bedhead as he left a cut on. Surely that doesn't cut, does it? Aye, it does. Well, that wasn't a great shot when you look at that. Oh dear. Well, did he have a look at those reds? Was he hoping to roll onto them? If he was, he fell short, and now Bedhead should do the right thing here, nail him behind the green. Well, he's looking to take the pink, but that's not what I'd be doing. I know exactly where I would leave the cue ball. but he's going all out. Well, Bedhead's got enough experience in the game that he's going to cause anybody problems. No doubt about it. And this match is pretty much over. The lead is 45. There's 43 in the table, with an easy choice of either red to secure the match. And he really should be thinking about clearing up here anyway, because there's nothing on the table that's a problem. Just a natural angle here off the black. He can run off the side cushion up for the red. He can roll through in the pink. It's all simple. It's all about keeping it simple every time. No matter what game you play, it's about leaving things simple for each shot. And that's how you begin to run balls. And another simple enough shot. Just roll through a tad or just kill it stone dead. Leave a straightish yellow. And if he's got enough of an angle there, which he has, he can just stun the yellow in. Oh, you're welcome, Andy. Well, he's just gone straight on to the blue, but that little break of 37 seals the deal, and Bedhead is through to the next round on the one loss side. Like I said earlier, he's going to have a little wait. He doesn't know who his opponent's going to be. It's either going to be Ken Way, who is somebody I've never seen, and Supermalt, who I don't think I've really seen play snooker either. So he's going to have time to get a bit more. I don't even think Bedhead bothers about practicing. I've never seen him in a snooker room, certainly not online. I think he just takes it as he goes. He's not bothered. And good win for Bedhead. Seals the deal. He marches on. But like I say, it's this point in the tournament where he's going to bump into trouble at some point. Everybody is, even those still in the winner's side. If they end up over that one loss side, they're going to bump into trouble. They're going to have to do things the hard way. But good luck to Bedhead. And well, anything can happen. But we know who the favourite is at the moment. It's Barker's, who I've never seen play online. And he just turned up the other day and looked very impressive. And we've still got the Moz stub match, and the other one who I've totally forgotten is playing. And I don't know whether I'll be lucky enough to get any of them. I hope I do, but the problem is it's back to the working week. And hopefully if they can play them early in the evening, I'm talking early, and maybe late afternoon, I'll be able to get them. But until we meet again, folks, thank you for your company. Thanks for dealing with any problems, if you know what I mean. Take care, stay safe, keep your distance, and we will see you again soon. And I'll bid you good night, and thanks again, guys.